Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
It's time for another conversation. This is Making It Last podcast. I'm your host, Noreen Daly. And with me this time around is Hunish Brown, a member of AXM. He will tell us what that is. And a young man who tries to positively impact his space by having something that he calls reshaping your space. He will tell us a little bit about that. But we're going to be talking about how can phone relationships transition to healthy face-to-face relationships. Welcome, Hunish.
Thank you so much for having me, Noreen.
Tell us a little bit about AXM and reshaping your space.
All right, so AXM is a youth group based in Porus, Manchester. What we try to do from time to time, we do charities. We try to help the community. We try to be a part of the community, and just simply be that positive light within our small space.
Okay, and reshaping your space?
And as for reshaping your space, it's just a platform that I use, Facebook and Instagram, to do small writings, which you might find to be motivational from time to time.
From time to time. It sounds like he's not doing it as often as he should, but this is an opportunity for him to maybe feel some guilt and recognize that it's something he needs to do on a regular basis. So, back to the issue at hand. How can phone relationships transition to healthy face-to-face relationships, Hunish?
You see that and I thought about it. Phone relationships, you just say it's a hi. You make a phone call, hi, how you do? Send a text, how are you? But is it that we just see these things and leave it, or we see these things and listen? Initially, I'd have had a conversation with a friend about phone relationships. I would have thought about it to be petty, where you just call somebody and you're just there, But if you're needed, you'll be on standby. That is what it is, If you call a friend and you're just there on the phone, you'll be on standby. So we say, taking the time out to ask relevant questions, and it's more important to take the time out to listen, because at times things our friends want to share things with us, but they don't want to rush the process, And if we say, okay, this is what I'm saying, bam, I'm gone. They'll not get that chance to share what if there's something bothering them, So we say that the first step of building that phone relationship is taking the time to listen.
Okay.
And from there, we can transition into a healthier face-to-face relationship.
Okay. Before we get into the second part of the conversation, you said something just now that I want you to elaborate on a little bit. You said earlier that initially, or sometimes people think that a phone relation might be superficial. Maybe I'm rephrasing something what you said, but it's not necessarily that way. Why?
All right, it is simply this. We say the phone, we find a lot of issues with our phone,
Okay.
So it takes away value from the relationships that we're supposed to have.
Okay.
But putting a positive twist to it, as I said, just taking a time out to listen, then we can build on what it is. It's not being petty, it's not just trying to find new friends on Facebook, but building on the friendships that we have by just simply having longer conversations and just finding ways to make those friendships last, Yeah,
which is one of the reasons for this podcast. Now, how then can we then transition? Because I have known of people who they can have extensive conversations on the telephone, but then when they see each other face to face, it's a totally different thing. It's like they're strangers. What do you think accounts for that, and what can be done to change that?
All right, I think we're our bravest when we're not seeing each other face to face. Because that's one of my challenge also, because I'll be able to talk to you on the phone for hours if we have that sort of friendship, But when I see you face to face, I tend to get quiet. Is it that I get shy or what? I don't know.
Okay.
But it is simply this. We are able to think. When I'm not seeing you and you're on the phone, I'm able to think and say, okay, this works, this does not work. Let me say this, let me not say this.
Okay.
Versus when I'm seeing you in public and I'm gauging when I'm seeing you in public, face to face, and I'm gauging your facial reactions and I'm saying, okay, this is not working. You know, so I think over the phone we're kind of brave versus face to face. We kind of get a little bit timid and we are afraid to say things. But I think if we build that sort of rapport and relationship, then the same energy that we have over the phone, the same energy that we'll have face to face, and to add to that, when we talk on the phone, I talk to you, and then I see in public. I see in public, and you just draw back. Then that's a challenge.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to come 60% and you're unwilling to meet with a 40%. We're not going to have it. So what's going to happen is that we'll meet, have a petty little talk, and go back and we have an extensive phone conversation about why we related the way we did earlier.
I'm about to let me not pick on you because it sounded like you're speaking from personal experience. But how then? No, so we're segueing into how then can we then ensure that when we see each other, the connection is healthy and we're able to connect on another level.
And you look at it this way: persons will tell you conversations not to have. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. But in essence, if you find that you're going out with a friend and it's going to be boring, join politics and join religion and have a discussion. At that point, then you'll know how they're thinking and you'll be able to put a twist to it, take something away from what was discussed. Say, okay, you like this party. We're not getting political here, but you like this party, you don't like that party. And then you can pinpoint on something and move away from that and have a little fun with another topic,
So you're basically saying there are no topics that are taboo. Just put everything out there and allow it to flow.
Yeah, just put it all out there, because the moment you begin to restrict what is said, then you will not have a conversation flowing. Because you'll look at it this way: we have friends and we like to talk about positivity. Positivity is your thing, but what if it's not their thing? Their thing is sports. And you're not a sports fan, so you just have to put all of that out there and be willing to have that conversation with them. That's what it is, Putting your thing aside and be willing to accept another person's perspective on things.
Well, I'm gonna backtrack a bit because this is something we should have said from we started the conversation, which is when we're talking about phone relationships, we're not just necessarily talking in terms of people talking to each other on a phone. We're also in terms of just texting, utilizing, because I know, well, I'm guilty of it too. I know these days a lot of the conversations we have are via WhatsApp.
All right. You look at the texting. Texting is just our way of saying, hey, remember me, I'm here. So from time to time you get a random text message. You might not get it often, but it's just a reminder that these people still exist and they know that you exist also.
It's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, it's a very interesting perspective.
It is.
To move away from that. So we just weighing the pros and cons between the phone conversation, the phone relationship and the face-to-face relationship. So your little texting, it's very much necessary for you to do that. So when you see somebody, they're not a stranger to you. Because if you neglect to text, if you neglect to maintain that phone relationship, when you see that person face to face, there'll not be a relationship, so to speak.
Sure.
So keeping the connection via phone, whether it be text or call, it is 99.9% necessary to have a face-to-face relationship. Yeah. Because what we're going to say is that we were friends. We're not friends. He doesn't text. He doesn't call me anymore. We're no longer friends like that. You understand? So we do the texting, we do the calling. In a lot of cases, for some persons, they'll expect more than that. The expectations. So the text and the call is followed up with something, but it is just saying that I do care.
Do you think it depends on the type of relationship, or it follows through to all types of relation, whether mother, son, friends, girlfriend, boyfriend? Do you think, it depends on the type of relationship?
Initially, I'd say yes, but at this point, no. Okay. Because if you just put all your friends, you just put all those relationships on the same level. Friend, mother, father, you just keep all of them on the same level and you keep the connection. You understand? That is what it is. So you're going to say that because you're my friend, I'm a male, and you're going to say that because you're my male friend, I'll not call you and text you the same. No. We're brethren. So I'm going to call, I'm going to check up on you just the same as I do with my mother or my girlfriend. You know?
Okay. Any as we're wrapping up, anything else you'd want to say to somebody who's listening and saying, but I do find that when I see some persons who I have extensive conversations with, whether via WhatsApp or whether messaging or whatever, when I still see them, I still feel awkward. What would be your response to them?
So I guess this is my advice to self and to those listening that just put aside the shy side of yourself. Just come with that energy, that level of positivity towards your friend. Just have that positive approach that, okay, today is the day that I'm going to see my friend and we're going to have a flamboyant conversation. We're just going to be.
Does that always work though, Hunish?
It doesn't always work, but it's having an open mindset to something positive, because you might change their day. Having that positive approach, so you're not going to move around and say, okay, I'm going to see you today. I'm not going to be sure what we're going to talk about, but I'm just going to see you because I can. But no, I'm going to see you. I'm going to give you all that love that I have. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm going to just bring that level of love that I have, bring it across in my voice, in my approach. It's just showing and sharing the love that you have within. That's all it is. When it comes on to a face-to-face relationship, it is showing the love and letting the person know that you are not afraid, so to speak, to show your love in that sort of way.
Were you always like that though, Hunish?
Nah.
Okay. How did you get to this point?
It's simply this, realizing that people care about you, and if you do not open yourself to be loved, you cannot be loved how you are to be loved, It is deep.
He's my friend, that's why I'm picking on him like this.
No, man, you have friends who you talk to who open your mind to different perspectives, like Noreen.
Okay. Okay. Praise the Lord for good friends.
Good friends.
As anything else, as we're closing, Hunish, that you'd like to share that you don't think that you've said already. And it's all about how can phone relationships transition to healthy face-to-face relationships. Anything else that you want to add?
I don't know how this relates much, but I think when we meet new persons, we tend to want to exchange numbers, and it seems that there's some hidden agenda behind that. But for me, I'm not the sort of, if you see me today, you'll be lucky if you see me tomorrow based on, my circumstance. I'll be here 1 minute and I'll be gone the next. So if I see you and I like your energy, and you might, because you're a female and I'm a male, then you might feel as though I have some hidden agenda. It's not always like that. We don't always have hidden agendas. Sometimes we just want to make a genuine connection because of your vibe. It matches with ours, so we're hoping that we can prolong something that has a potential to spur growth. So it might turn into a business partnership or something like that. The potentials are unimaginable. So, just be open to things, but you still have to be careful who you let into your space, but you still keep an open mind towards things.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hunish.
Thank you.
This was Making It Last podcast with your host, Noreen Daly. I trust if you don't think you got an answer to what we spoke about, at least your brain has been stimulated or tickled even. Until next time, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives,